So this video is going to be about how to memorize neurotransmitter functions, and I have my notes here, so if I look down, that is what I'm looking at. This is how I memorize the neurotransmitters that I needed to in AP Psych. It may not help for everybody, but I hope that you could take something away from this video and use it to help you in Psych. So the 6 neurotransmitters you're supposed to memorize based off of the chart in the David Myers textbook are acetylcholine, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, glutamate, and GABA. So starting off with acetylcholine, its function is to enable muscle action and memory. And how I memorized that was that action and acetylcholine both start with AC, and you have to commit an action to memory to actually perform it. So using those cues, that's how I remembered that acetylcholine enables muscle action and memory. Moving on to dopamine. Dopamine influences emotion, and I created a theory that if you dope up, meaning you take steroids, you'll be happy because you'll most likely win in whatever you're competing at. And happy is an emotion, therefore dopamine influences emotion. The book says that acetylcholine and dopamine both influence learning, but I've noticed on tests that you don't have to actually worry about knowing that because it's almost a hard question to ask because there's two possible answers. If you ask what neurotransmitter influences learning, there's the possibility that it could be dopamine or acetylcholine. So tests will most likely ask whether or not you know if acetylcholine enables muscle action and memory and if dopamine influences emotion. The next neurotransmitter is serotonin, and that affects mood, hunger, sleep, and arousal. And how I remember that it affected those four is that I associate serotonin with sleep first because serotonin and sleep both start with S. And after that, I created a story. And the story goes like this. So, Sally received little sleep. Therefore, she has a low level of arousal because she's tired. But the people around her have so much energy that she's irritated. And when she's irritated, she's in a bad mood. Because Sally's an emotional eater, she gets rid of her bad mood with food, and food is associated with hunger. So, therefore, from the story, it goes sleep, arousal, mood, and then hunger, and that is how I remember that serotonin influences those four. The next one is norepinephrine, and that influences or that controls alertness. And the first 5 letters of norepinephrine is NOREP, and for some reason I am reminded of no reply from those first 5 letters. And if you don't have a reply to something, that means you have a low level of alertness, and that is how I remember that norepinephrine controls alertness. The next neurotransmitter is glutamate, and that is an excitatory transmitter. Being a workout junkie myself, I know that there's a pre-workout called glutamine, and glutamine and glutamate just sound similar to each other. And because I know that glutamine is a pre-workout, like I said, it excites your body. Therefore, glutamate is an excitatory transmitter. The next one is GABA, and that's the only other G other than glutamate. And if you can remember that glutamate is an excitatory transmitter. GABA is just the opposite, meaning it's an inhibitory transmitter. So, to recap, acetylcholine will enable muscle action and memory because acetylcholine and action both start with AC, and you have to commit an action to memory to actually perform it. Dopamine induces emotion because if you dope up, you'll win and you'll be happy, and happy is an emotion. Serotonin affects sleep, arousal, mood, and hunger. And that is based off of the story, if you could remember it. Norepinephrine, no reply, is equating to alertness. Glutamine is a pre-workout, it excites. Glutamate is an excitatory transmitter, and GABA is just the opposite of glutamate, so it's an inhibitory transmitter. I hope this video helps, and thank you for watching.